Hey guys, Stealth here. In this replay we're going to see some very nice action. This replay was sent in to me by Barry Dillon, and considering that he has the rank of Colonel, he's definitely a very experienced player. We've already seen Austrian Oak every now and then in a replay. He usually plays with Future Pro, or at least that was the games that I covered of him. And in this one he's teamed up with Puff the Magic Dragon and Barry Dillon. Now Barry sent me this replay and told me that all of the players involved in this game are very experienced. So everyone in here knows what they're doing, how to use the units to their optimal ability. And that makes it a very tense game. Now as you can see, of course, people put down markers. Oak is going to hold this area with his CV. Puff is going to hold this area, Foxtrot. And it seems that Dillon is preparing a push. A lot of helicopters here, Mi-24s, Mi-24Ps, Mi-24Vs I'm expecting. Yeah, here's one. That's the AA variant. And of course they are using some FOBs here. Somewhat surprising to me is that Barry is not using a FOB, even though helicopters, if they survive, are quite resource intensive. So anyway, over here on the right we got a setup from Austrian Oak, combined with one of the CVs of Barry. A couple of T-64 BMs, BVs, Tungushkas. Never mind, they all just got deleted. Where did they go? Guess he's gonna go with a different setup. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Yeah, he's gonna go with Strela, some infantry, and a BRDM-3 instead. Now, important to know, Dillon is using a airborne deck, as you can see here. And the Russian helicopter fleet is taken off. And in this game you're going to see a very nice display of how to use the quick mobility and offensive power of an airborne deck. He is not going to sit around, and he is going to go very quickly after all these guys. Over here we do have some units, but I thought there were going to be more. And this CV is moving up towards this zone to capture it, because it is a conquest game and you want to get those zones as quickly as possible. In the meanwhile, Barry is moving his way around this flank. He is not going to drop off his forces here, which is too easy. Mobility is what sets an airborne deck apart. Of course, motorized decks are pretty mobile, but airborne decks can do things that motorized just cannot do. He's going to drop off his forces on this side of the river, which gives both him and his team quite some advantages, since they don't have to fight their way across these bridges just yet. In the meanwhile, we got Puff over here, who's heavily engaged with a lot of forces. We got some LTTP 7A1s, so that's either small submarines, Bradleys. I believe I saw an M1A1HC over here somewhere. So they brought some very heavy armor. In the meanwhile, Barry has landed. A couple of VDV-90s. Of course you want to have the 90 variant in this game, because they are, I think, by far the most cost effective. With their vampires they can kill pretty much any tank. He managed to kill a rover here, but unfortunately at the expense of his reconnaissance unit. Luckily, Austrian still has a Spetsnaz GRU group here, so they can still see some units. But these LVKV-90s are definitely trouble for these helicopters. In the meanwhile, the force over here, which was managed by Austrian, got completely wiped, by Puff, got completely wiped out. And Blue Force now leading by a +1. Interestingly, there's no infantry here yet from either party. But they do have a vehicle over here. Seems to be just a regular transport. And they're already putting on down attack markers. Guys, we got units in here. F-35 Dragon comes in. This is not a unit you want to see if you have infantry in here. And he just manages to make it out with losing only 4 guys. While the VDV over here and the Gornostrelki, the guy with their Metis M anti-tank launcher, do have, well, they do take control of these buildings, but what they lack a little bit is AA. And that is gonna be something that he's gonna regret later. Now, over here on the right, they managed to sneak in a Cassiope. And that's gonna cost them 1 CV and a lot of income here. Somehow, the CV that was over here also managed to get destroyed. Probably by cluster munitions, looking by the spray, so that might have been a Mars that fired at that location. And that puts Blue 4 in a solid lead of 3 points, so it's not looking that good for Barry and the rest of his team. Now, as you can see, Nova over here went with some very heavy armor, M1A1s and M18Cs. So there goes one, killed by, I believe, the Luzandui. Probably this group though. But now they got the Stormpioniere, which are the guys who have the napalm launchers, so you didn't want to go close with infantry. You don't want to get too close with vehicles either, because the Leopard 1A5s are now causing all sorts of trouble for the transports which are coming in with new infantry. Over here on the right, the situation seems stable, but we got some new units coming in. We got the Kiowa and a Cassiope, which is an interesting combination. One is pretty good against infantry and light vehicles. The other one's a spotter. And it seems that if they encounter this VDV, the VDV is going to be in a lot of trouble. Here comes the Dragon again, and unfortunately Barry's team cannot do anything against that because they don't have any AA here. The VDV gets spotted, they lose 1 unit, and the Cassiope just took a lot of fire here and gets taken down by this group of VDV. Now this is good and bad news. They just took out that unit, but at the expense of letting them know exactly what their locations are. And that's going to be trouble, because now they are a much easier target to bomb. In a situation like this, of course it's easy for me to say after the game, since it's a replay. But I would usually move these guys up a little bit to make sure that this location where the VDV were spotted and this location are no longer valid locations for a bombing run. In the meanwhile, over here in the middle sector, if you want to call it middle, let's call it Elena for now, it is not looking too good for Red 4. They have trouble getting in here, and these Fankua Bings are guys you want to drop off with their transport quickly. They are napalm troops, but they are not particularly fast, they're only 20 kph. And with that, they cannot really get close enough before taking a lot of fire from either the Bradleys, which are going to come in, or the machine guns, which are carried by the infantry over here. And now, this is going to be an interesting match. We got VDVs versus Yerer 90. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but my pronunciation of the Scandinavian languages is not that stellar. Anyway, these guys with their MP5s and their Mini-Me are just chewing up the VDV over here. And these are not light VDV units. They are hardened units, and these guys of course are elite, which makes them even more capable. They're a 10-man squad at elite level of training, and that just cost them the VDV. Meanwhile, over here we got the Gornostrelki and the VDV being spotted by the Kiowa. Kiowa fortunately does not have enough ammo to take these guys out, but his buddies might. And he can just casually sit here at decent range, which is 1,000 meters I believe, and pick off some of these VDVs. The score, or the lead by now, is a lot of points for Blue 4. They've captured 192 points, or they scored 192 points. Red 4 is only sitting at 4 points, so it's not looking that well. Over here, their middle line looks a little soft. I think it's a good thing that Blue 4 seemingly does not have any airborne decks. Otherwise they just could have flown right over this bridge, killed the CV over here, the CV over there, and the command infantry over here, which is not in cover. Good thing they don't have an airborne deck. BTRA versus Leopard 1A5, of course that's the thing that's very much in the advantage of the Leopard. and they just don't have any units which can really deal with those tanks and whatever infantry is in here by now, because I saw a couple of transports go in. Over here, where we have the Gornostroki and the VDV, the Kiowa is still spawning them, and the LVKV is just chewing them up. And meanwhile, they're also getting napalmed, and the Dragon, which we saw already earlier 2 times, comes in again, does another bombing run and wipes out the Gornos and the VDV over here. Unfortunately, these Iglas arrived just a little too late. They could have made a difference in taking out the Kiowa and possibly taking out the Dragon with their combined fire. That's a jet going down. By the looks of it, I'd say that's an American fighter, but I'm not too sure. No, sorry, it's not American, it's Soviet. You can see that over here not a lot is going on. This is usually the case in this gunboat diplomacy map. It is very, very difficult to cross this bridge. Very difficult. You cannot really use vehicles, you cannot use tanks, amphibious landings, insofar as they have a naval zone, which they don't have in this sector. Naval zones might work. You might be able to get a couple of coasters in here, provide some fire support, and try to get some units to land in here, but then you're stuck in this forest. I'm curious to see what Blue 4 has in here, which, as you can see, isn't all that much either. They got a couple of transports, a Mistral, which I think is out of position, actually. I would have my Mistral over there, spotting whatever is coming over this bridge, because right now this Mistral is looking at this tree line, and it can only see something the moment that it crosses this line, if you will, which is about halfway over the bridge, which is a little late, because it does not give the ATGM Milan F3s a lot of time to aim. So maybe he was too busy on the right flank, because I believe that Greyjoke is also operating on the right flank here. But this is something that is slightly out of position, or at least I think that it is. Anyway, back to Barry. And for now, Barry is just saving up his points. He is going to be planning something major later on in the game. They still got the Jaeger 90 over here, which is still trouble, although it's just 1 man. Or at least 1 man according to the hit points, and 2 men according to just the visuals. So sometimes the game seems to mess this up a little bit. Rafale's coming in, dealing with an Su-27, and combined with the fire of an Igla, it's a sudden death for both of them, and they just both go down. 2 Su-24s come in, the seaplanes, and with this he's going to try and get a shot at this LVKV-90. And he did not get it with the first round, but the second one took it out. And we got another helo push over here. Now, let's see if those guys have been spotted yet. They know that there's 1 Mi-8 over there, and that is probably going to tell them that there's a ton more. Let's see. Tornado ECR has pretty good air detection, very good. They might see them. And yeah, it seems that he's now coming across this ridge. And now they're getting spotted. So let's see how Barry is going to perform this assault run. Keep in mind, it's a lot of transports. Mi-8Ts are transports, Mi-8 MTVs are transports. The only real gunships over here are the Mi-24Ps and the Mi-24K. Who's going to try to do a sidewards assault on this position. Let's hope that Blue 4 cannot deploy that many AA units, or AA units. It's pushing in. You can see everything in this zone, including the CV. The CV, though, seems to be slightly... Yeah, it's just inside this zone. And here you go. The Avengers are coming in, the LVKV-90s are coming in. They found the ATA CMS, which is definitely a priority target, and they neutralized this command zone. Which, for now, is going to put them at a slight advantage, because it means that the air assets are going to come in from Ivan, giving them a slightly longer lead time. But you can see from this example just how different Conquest can be from the regular destruction game. Because in Conquest it doesn't really matter if you lose all of these choppers, so long as you get the objective done. It doesn't really matter how many losses you take. And this is going to take Blue for at least a little bit of time before they can get those guys, or before they can get the zone back under control. They might try to fly in a command chopper with command, or a chopper with command infantry, or they're going to have to drive all the way around. Still a lot of fighting going on over here. Napalm tank trying to chew up the infantry that's in here by just napalming the entire zone. And it would seem that this Avenger did a scouting run. It seems that the Avenger was somehow scouting for the unit that took out this tank. So that's a very, very interesting unit of an AA. Very interesting use of an AA unit. And Oak is just trying to get these guys back. Unfortunately, he lost another Su-27PU, very expensive fighter. This, I believe, is the 180 point unit. Very good anti-air, very good ECM, but even these guys can get taken down. And he is making it out alive. So we got some Iglas over here, which are using their main gun. I was looking for an air target, but they're just whittling down these trucks with their AKs. Not extremely effective. And the Jupiters over here are just spotting. They're just looking for these Iglas. And job done. They found them. So for now, Blue 4 is still sitting at a solid lead of 221 points versus only the 4 points of Red 4. So something's gonna have to be done. More Blue 4 air assets coming in. I believe these are Puffs. I'm not entirely... That's a Freedom Fighter. Puff uses the same type of unit. And these guys are armed with rocket pods. Quick runs. I believe they didn't fire their weapons though. And now it's time for Red 4 to start retaking this area. Spetsnaz are coming in. Very, very good use of Spetsnaz here, trying to take down the light riflemen. And this also opens up the area to Puff, to make sure that the Fang Hua Bing can try to get in. Unfortunately, the FSKs took him out. There goes another Spetsnaz squad. And over here, a couple of T-72As are also helping out, dealing with the transports, and dealing with some of the infantry in here as well. Now, these are very, well, decently cheap tanks. They're only 55 points, but in a situation like this, where they have the advantage of having close cover, where they can get very close, the AP power of 14, the armor penetration, is going to go a long, long way. You can do a lot of damage with these guys. And it seems that Red 4 has pushed through the lines over here, because by now they're at the AA. They found the RBS-90 over here. One T-72A is backing off. He took a lot of damage. Lucky to make it out alive. This T-72A over here is trying to get a shot at these Bradleys, but they're just running away like crazy. And he's not going to get a shot. So, Blue 4's leading again. And that's because, I believe... Let's see, where did they lose a command zone? I think that... Oh, they captured Jot again, that's for sure. And these guys are definitely in trouble. You can see that the Gornostroki, even though they're in a building, have already been detected. That means that there's something spotting them over here. And unfortunately, without a spotter of their own, their Gornos with their Metis are not that effective. Here comes two Cobras with a longbow. Well, this is going to be the end of this sector. Blue 4 probably knows exactly where the command infantry is. It's getting pretty predictable. If it's not over there, and they bombed that area pretty heavily, it's going to have to be over here. So the Gornos are still trying to get a shot at the Leopard over here, or actually these units over here. Missing them, unfortunately. Accuracy on these guys is 55%, but you could say that that is not always what you're going to get. Longbow got hit by the Su-27PU. Let's see if he can take them down in time. He is trying to veer around, getting another shot. Lost eyes on the longbow for now. Luckily this thing has great air detection. Doing a little aerial acrobatics. Fired a missile, did not get the longbow. Now he's going to have to be careful with this AA over here. See if he's going to come around again. You want to get those longbows destroyed. But no, he's not going to do it again. Evac ordered. At least he managed to scare off the longbow for now. But again, the Jupiters are going to be the end of Barry. These guys, just a couple of standard transport trucks, are going to be spotting the command infantry. And unfortunately the command infantry is detected because they fired their weapons. Helicopter over here managed to take out the trucks, but now of course it's evident where these guys are and how you can take them out. He is moving them away. This guy with his machine gun might be able to get the jump on them. But of course, these guys, the Cobras, are also going to come in. And since there's not a lot of AA, they do have the TY-90s, but can they take down the Cobras in time? TY-90 fired once, twice, missed. SU-24s are coming in. Seemingly doing a gun run on this position. And the Bradleys with their Bushmasters are engaging the helicopters. And the helicopter is not taking kindly to that. Come on. Managed to make it out in cover just in time. KA-29 does not seem to be so lucky. And Austrian is now trying to land a couple more forces here, trying to provide cover for the command infantry. Let's hope that they can get away with it. Blue Force by now leading by +2, because Red 4 lost command of Elena. And they are still trying to force their way through, but they're not getting a very easy time here with all the napalm. The tons of infantry that Blue 4 has in here. Sturmpionierer, we got more Leopards coming in. Even a 2A4 over there. They got a Roland standing by to do any, or to counter any air attack. And Spetsnaz versus vehicles is not going to be a very, very good, effective trade-off. They might do some stun damage, they might do some HE damage, but it's not going to really do a lot against these vehicles. And the Spetsnaz get taken out. But now, we're going to take a look at the other side of the map, because something is going on here. Another push by Barry. More Mi-24s. This is the VP, the expensive version. Mi-24K reconnaissance unit. Again, quite a bit of transports over here lagging behind. Mi-8 MTVs. And some Mi-8 TVs and a V over here. So they got a bit of everything. And this push is going to have to work. Otherwise, Red 4 is going to be done for. So he's just gathering his forces over here. Even an Akula is joining the fight. Beautiful helicopters these. A lot of ammunition. Some AA with that. Great autocannon. And of course the 12 Vickers. Very, very good anti-tank helicopter. The entire group's moving. Unfortunately the Mi-8 MTVs are not that fast. They only travel at 250, where the Mi-24s all travel at 330. And of course the Akula is racing ahead at 330 as well. So it's going to be difficult to keep all of these guys arriving at the same time. On the other hand, they don't really need to arrive exactly at the same time, since you want to get your offensive units to arrive first, so the Mi-24s, and then have the Mi-8s lag behind a little bit. And they come into they're going to try to come to the side here of Blue 4, where hopefully they don't have a lot of defenses. In the meanwhile, Puff the Magic Dragon is still, well, he's not exactly breathing fire, he's taking a lot of fire. Brought in a T-90 in case they got a lot of heavy armor, and these Luzanduis are not having a good time here. The Stormers are spotting them, and they're taking fire from 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 tanks. But here we go. The Air Force has been spotted. They have been detected by the ECR. And this is going to be trouble. There's the CV. That's the one you want to take down. Gets taken down by the first shot of the Mi-24P. Great job here. But now you want to get these AA units out as fast as you can. There you go. Target down. Time to deal with this artillery next. You can see that the fob is already lighting up green, so that means that he's running low on supplies. Not really a surprise considering that he fired those Marses quite a bit. And that missile missed, unfortunately. Akula took quite a few bad hits over here. And considering it's not the most heavily armored helicopter in the first place, these things don't always survive, unfortunately. But the job is done. They managed to land their VDVs, and now you still got helicopters with rocket pods. You can see that Blue Force immediately responding with Flak Panzer Gepard A2s, Rover RBS 90s are coming in, and that unfortunately took down their reconnaissance helicopter, which is not what you want to see. And now he's just pushing his way through the back of Anna. This is usually where you don't have a lot of defenses. Maybe some of the AA guns that are over here are going to be here in time. But this command vehicle is history. So that's another command zone neutralized. Now the question is, can they capitalize on this? Can they really push in fast enough, get enough points? VDVs are all in cover in these tree lines. Probably trying to ambush the Gepard A2. LVKV 90 got taken down by the Mi-24, but the Mi-24 paid pretty dearly for that. He lost a lot of health. And this Roland's going to get taken down by rocket pods. Puff comes in, deals with one of the helicopters with those AIM-9Ls. He's trying to get a second shot, but did not really get it off. And he gets taken down by the Su-27PU from Austrian. And now we're going to see expensive jets. F-16 MLU. This is one of the newer jets. They carry both MRAMs and Mavericks, so an AT/AA helicopter, airplane. Kills an Su-24. And the Mi-24V is trying to take it down, but finally the Su-27PU manages to kill that unit, and it's going to go down right into the water here. These helicopters are trying to get out. They've been heavily damaged, running out of fuel, fired off quite a bit of rounds, and now they're bringing in a command infantry helicopter here, or in a helicopter with command infantry. The question is, can they land that thing if there's a Gepard in there? That is going to be tricky. So a MiG-25 BM comes in, kills off the Gepard, right in time. Su-25T. This is the expensive variant, by the way, the 200-point unit. And if you can get these guys to operate without being shot at, they're going to do a ton of damage. And they even managed to kill that CV, where Blue for almost recaptured Ivan. It was going to get very, very close. But the Mi-8 TV has arrived, and now they can capture this area for themselves. And meanwhile, the guys in the middle are getting nowhere. Blue Fort just has too much of a presence of Marines, tanks, probably AA and AA infantry, so they're just not getting anywhere. But they don't need to. Command infantry has landed, and now they have a command zone which is right next door to Blue 4. So it's time to start spawning in some new units. And he's bringing in some Scratchets with AT weapons, bringing in a truck with, let's see, where is it? Ural 375, that is probably Spetsnaz GRU. And now it's time to reinforce the zone as quickly as possible. And this, combining them with a push that was done into Anna, these forces over here were already weakened or killed off, allowing Austrian to push in with his CV, and Red Force leading by +4, which is a ton of points. Su-25T comes in again, takes a lot of fire, immediately gets evac'd, hopefully he's going to make it out. F-16 manages to kill it off, and now the F-16 is going to have to dance with the Su-27 again. Of course, since this is an air reinforcement zone, you can just see it over here. They can also bring in air assets, and that means that they can really push into this area quickly if they want to. You can see that the Su-27 took a bit of fire. I'd say that that's another LVKV 90 AA gun, or a SPAG if you will. A couple of no-nos are coming in. I'm not sure where he's firing at right now. He might have seen something. Or he's just guessing his way through. Let's see. Yep, he's seen something. Probably this command vehicle, but they have a double command setup over here. And I just saw a couple of very expensive tanks come in. You can see that Barry over here is using the cover of the tree lines to make sure that he has a lot of infantry in here. With this he can take down well, pretty heavy tanks. Conquest M with 23 armor penetration is going to do a lot of damage. And the Scrajets in the meantime are taking down the Cassiopes as they're coming in. And here you can see it. This turret shape says Leopard 2A5. This round, or no, it's not rounded, it's pretty triangular if you will. This armor shape, it's a Leopard 2A5. So they have to bring in something that can take out 2A5s, preferably at range, because you don't want to get them too close to the VDVs. Or I don't think that these guys, the Leopard 2A5s, are going to get too close to the VDVs on their own accord. The AA gun that I saw over here was not an LVKV, it was instead an automatic. So that was even more dangerous, but the MiG-25BM seed play manages to take it out. And the Leopard 2A5 manages to kill off that transport, as it killed off a Blue Fort transport, an XA-180. So the question is, how much AA does Blue Fort have? Can they safely bring in helicopters? The Su-25T is no longer available. I'm not sure if he has a second one in his deck, possibly. But we cannot be sure at this point. Spetsnaz GRU came out of that truck as expected. And they kill off the tank, instantly getting elite veterancy. Now they're getting sniped down by Marine Jaeger with their HK PSG-1. So it's going to be a sniper match. Unfortunately, these guys probably have a ton better accuracy than the Spetsnaz, since the Spetsnaz are panicked, and these guys are not panicked. But the Scrajjet might be able to get these guys if it can get close enough. And look at how they turned this game around. Nobody cares anymore about Elena or Cheriton. Nobody cares. They only care about getting this thing under control. And the entire team, we got Oak over here, we got Puff the Magic Dragon. They are all operating in this area now. They all want to get these guys dead. And they're capitalizing on it. They're getting a +5 income. That's because they managed to somehow neutralize the command zone of Elena. Possibly because Blue Fort needs their CVs elsewhere. Let's see what's going on. Where is that CV? I didn't see any bombing runs or artillery. Might have just missed it. Smirch is reloaded. By the distance to the fob it cannot have fired. This one might have fired. I'm not really sure what happened to the CV over here in Elena. We got a couple of more sneaky attacks over here by Austrian. He's going to try to push into the other flank, wedging them in. So much for a MiG-27K. He tried to snipe the Leopard 2A5. Did not get away with it. Super Cobra. And let's see, probably more Cassiopes over here. Instantly wiped out by the Iglas. Conquest Emmer getting back into cover, trying to get a shot at the leopards. Question is, how much reconnaissance does Blue 4 have over here? I'm not too sure about that. Let's have a sneak peek. It's the Marine Jaeger, which are probably spotting quite a few guys over here. And this thing, the longbow. Yeah, they can see a lot of units. Surprisingly many. That was another automatic that came in, by the way. By now, Red 4 is leading at a +5, and they've almost overtaken Blue 4 in points. 412 versus 427. 417. Scratchhead gets taken down. I think that this is just a Humvee tow. Tow 2 probably. And they're just scouting with the Scratchhead. It doesn't really matter what happens at this point, so long as they keep eyes on this area and hold this zone. But that is something that is probably going to happen, since they have a very solid AT/AA setup. Anti-tank might get a little bit better. They could use a bit more armor here. So if one of the guys brought in a T90, for example, that would be a big help. K-52 and an Akula are going to try and get these Super Cobras down. Returning fire. So much for the Akula. And the Recon. Pretty unfortunate. M1A1 Abrams coming in. Lost sight on it, but killed the combat. And it's probably going to be the end of those Gornos. Missile away. And it's the end of the game. So, excellent play by both parties. Barry did very good with the side attacks, trying to come in at, well, you could say unexpected angles, but I suppose that on this map they might not be that unexpected. Puff and Austrian did a great job fighting in the middle. They just had a ton of resistance from, I'm not sure, they might have all been operating in that area, Greyjoke, Nova and Asherata. And you can see that these ratios are not that bad. Greyjoke lost 800 points more. He gained about 900 points. And he only lost 370 or 300, well, let's say 300, 400. Austrian lost 200 points more. Considering that he was operating in the middle, I think that this is a pretty astounding result. Same for Puff, he lost a little bit more. And Barry got a positive result, probably from getting all the kills. We can go through the kill list here. You can see just how surprisingly effective those Mi-8 MTV transports can be. They took out ATGM Line F3s, ATACMS, Leopards. Of course, these things might have already been roughed up by ATGMs. LVKV-90 AA guns getting taken down by an Mi-24P. Let's see if there's any impressive kill lists in here. Nice kills by the Su-27PU. F-15C Eagle, I believe, is 170 points. So that's only 10 points lower than the Su-27. Tornado ECR is another 150 point plane, so 320. And I believe this is another 160 point plane. So a 180 point plane took down a 480 point units in kills. Otherwise the list seems pretty good. He lost an Su-27S versus a Rafale. That was the one where, well, they pretty much got a sudden death because the Rafale then got taken down. Let's see, that was pretty early on in the game. Where is it? Rafale got taken down by some of those Iglas, I think. Might not have been his Iglas though. Mi-24K, you can see that the AA units are mostly what got his units killed. RBS 90s, LVKV 90s, RBS 90s again, Rafale. That's the second Su-27S he lost to a Rafale. Roland's, Avengers, Chaparrals, more Avengers. Puffs. He lost an Mi-24P, so a helicopter to a seaplane. Those seaplanes are surprisingly dangerous, those F5s, because they do have AIM-9Ls, which are definitely, well, pretty lethal against helicopters. Combined with the low speed of the Puff, that gives them enough time to aim and fire that weapon. Interestingly, AMX-10Ps with their autocannons managed to take down helicopters as well. It's the same guy, by the way. So this AMX-10P definitely got his money's worth. Gepard took down an Su-24, so the seaplane. Leopard 2A5 killed the Scrajat, but that's, I believe, the only kill that Leopard 2A5 did to Barry. Longbows, oh, not too bad. With that, it's the end of the video. I hope you liked watching this gameplay. I thought it was a very, very good gameplay from all parties involved. Blue 4 had a very solid control over the middle of the map. Red 4 was struggling to get back, but with Barry's attack on the flanks, especially on the right flank where he was flying over the water, it really, really made the difference in this game. So I hope you liked watching it. If you did, please consider liking the video down below. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Wargame Red Dragon material. And if you have any tips or thoughts about this game, let me know in the comments down below. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.